Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia, and today let's talk about episode 2 and 3 of the anime series known as SPECTRE. That's right, a double episode review. Why? Well, because I'm playing catch up and these two episodes kind of continue on after each other. So, let's start with episode 2. This episode was more relaxed and more slower paced than episode 1, and that's not a bad thing, because the way they went about doing this episode was actually quite smart. So this episode was all about Kotoko helping out the guardian of the lake, which essentially is this giant snake that's just kind of like chilling on the cliffside, watching over this lake to make sure that, you know, nobody does anything dirty in it. And people used to actually worship this guardian because they used to think that this guardian can make it rain. Now, that's a big factor because that information and all the information that Kotoko can get in this episode 2 and episode 3 helps to actually showcase just how smart and how kind of analytical Kotoko actually is. Yes, okay, we know that she's like the goddess of, I think it's knowledge, to the yokai, and she's like this higher up being. But at the end of the day, you know, she still has to try and put all this together and think of these scenarios. Why does she have to think of scenarios? Well, something's troubling the guardian, lake spirit, and it seems that there was a lady that dumped a body into the lake, and this serpent doesn't understand why, the lady would do that. As well as the fact is, the lady said something very strange. This lady that dumped the body in the water said, "I hope they find you." Now, this guardian's perplexed and is like, well, why would she say that if, she doesn't want to get caught? So begins the whole ordeal of Kotoko trying to analyze, assess, and give the Guardian a reason that is fitting and without any loopholes. Now, I just want to say it was a joy hearing Kotoko explain everything. The voice actress just encapsulates and complements the character so well, and I love the kind of explanations and just seeing how Kotoko really does get to the kind of end result and the kind of presentation of what they were going for. So basically, Kotoko would give out a scenario that she thinks could be possible. She doesn't say that it's definite, but she says it's possible. And yet they still kind of animate and showcase and show off that scenario, even though it's probably wrong. And it's the fact, again, that Kotoko doesn't really have very much information. However, she still manages to explain and think of possible scenarios that sound plausible. Like, for example, she managed to think of the fact that maybe the guy that this girl murdered, phoned up the brother first. The brother didn't want anything to do with it, so she phoned the ex, which is the lady who killed him, and then the brother actually killed him, and the lady was covering up her tracks. And she prayed for it, dumped it into the lake so that it would rain, because of the stories about the serpent causing rain, which isn't actually true, it's just coincidental. Basically meaning that the rain would cover up any footprints or any tracks leading to the lake and leading back to the house, thus getting rid of all evidence in the house and outside. But yeah, there was lots of kind of scenarios and explanations going around, and it was very chilled. There wasn't like any sense of danger or any kind of, any drama, except for like the fact is they're trying to solve this case. And this series being kind of like a mystery really does intrigue me, because I like a good mystery. Every now and again, a good mystery anime is always welcome. The interactions between Kuro and Kotoko were really cute, as he does somewhat care for her well-being, as, he makes her a flask of hot food, and he kind of gives her a coat and says, look, you can't go up to the mountains like that. And he still ventures out to check on her after, completing what he wants to do. He turns around and says, no, I'm not coming with you. Why do I have to? I'm making some food at home. And yet he still kind of, he still acts like a caring man and still goes to check on her to make sure she's still alive. obviously this big giant snake, you think she might get eaten. So, we also learned in this episode that Kuro has healing abilities, and that comes from eating mermaids. Now, I need to know, is it the top half or is it the lower half that he ate? It's for science. If anyone can tell me, that'd be great. But the weird thing is, this mystery actually doesn't get solved in episode 2. It actually follows into episode 3, which still has the Guardian very unhappy with the explanation that we were given throughout the whole of episode 2, which, I don't know. On the one hand, I like the fact that cases aren't solved too quickly, and one episode might be too quick. But the same fact is, if you don't have anything substantial in an episode, then you might want to kind of wrap it up as fast as possible. However, I wasn't too bothered by this transitional inwards, because what came after the whole final explanation in episode 3 just kind of, made it a lot more exciting. If they had taken up 2 whole episodes of this, then it would have gotten quite redundant and quite annoying, and it probably would have put off a lot of people. However, let me explain why I think they did this very well. So, the explanation that they finally settled with was the fact that the lady killed the man, dumped him in the lake, so that the police could find her baby, that she threw away into the lake after having a miscarriage. A very sad, yet, well, obviously not to me, but maybe some people might relate. Because you have this girl that she was in love with this man, and he kind of left her. He ran away. He cheated on her and went to another girl. She was pregnant and didn't tell him until eventually she lost a baby. And after hearing that he passed away, she just couldn't bear it. So she kind of threw the baby away, and with that guilt and that pain, and she just, now that she knows that the father's dead and everything, she just wants to bury it, give it a proper burial. But because it's been so long, unknowing to her, the lake was cleaned out by the local yokai. So, with her telling the police that the murder weapon is somewhere in the lake too, so they'll have to find the lake, search the lake, because it's a big lake, to find the weapon, and they might find the unborn child, it's unfortunately not going to happen. Now, after all of that, after all that sort of mystery and case solving, we actually get some real excitement. Now, I'm not talking about excitement in the fact that, ooh, they solved the mystery. No, I mean excitement because some action comes in and it looks like the plot is slowly moving forward. And it looks interesting. So, we get the Steel Lady Nanase? Is that how you pronounce the name? Not Nanase? What am I talking about? No, the Steel Lady Nanase. That is the name of the antagonist that it looks like we're going to have going forward. And this character is very interesting and I'm intrigued. Hopefully this character is very kind of plot heavy throughout the story. I like her design, it looks great. And on the plus side, if I want to draw this character, because I like to draw anime characters from time to time, I don't need to worry about drawing the face or the eyes. Because, well, it's blacked out. And thank God, because the eyes are really hard to draw on some characters. But yeah. Anyway, the fact that she carries around a steel beam and wears this kind of pop idol outfit actually does intrigue me a little bit. Because obviously it means we've got some nice backstory on the way for this character coming. It turns out that she is an idol that died. And she's just going around kind of causing trouble. We see this one instant where she scares this driver off the road. And he crashes for a metal bollard and is in shock and in agony. So that was pretty cool. But honestly, with this character entering the show, it looks like the plot is moving forward at a very exciting pace. So we go from this transition of having a mystery, self-casing kind of slow, drawn out kind of episode segment where it leaks into episode 3. But then the second half of episode 3 really roars up and brings some interesting development, so to speak. Now then, the interactions between Kotoko and Saki, which we find out that Saki is actually a police officer now. So when she moved and broke up with Kuro, she left to become an official police officer. And it turns out that she's kind of, I don't know, she's her character seems intriguing for what we know so far. Like, because anything to do with yokai and anything to do with, like, her past, she always violently vomits. She can't eat meat or something. Maybe she learned about Kuro eating yokai flesh, and that turned her vegan or something. We know that she can see the yokai. And it's probably because she's seen Kuro heal himself. So that's probably the reason as to why she knows that yokai exists. Because she runs into Nanase. And the interactions between the Kotoko and Saki were actually pretty funny. As it's somewhat awkward when a girlfriend meets the ex. And this is no exception. So, yeah, I like the fact that there was a good fight between Kotoko, Nanase, and I like the fact that Saki, although she's human, tried to fight. That shows good characterization from my character, and it shows that she's quite brave and quite, I don't want to say aggressive, but that's one word, the only word I can think of at the moment. So that was pretty cool. But, you know, because she's human, she can't land a punch on the ghost of this antagonist. So we end episode 3 off with the reveal that, you know, Kotoko is dating Kuro to Saki, and she's just like, kapow! We don't know if she actually punches her or not, but I just love the face that Kotoko makes, like when she finds out who she is and like when the fist is on its way. It's just funny. Kotoko's faces that she pulls are just goofy, hilarious, and honestly, it's just great. So then we have 2 very different episodes. One is a much slower paced episode, but is a good showcasing of Kotoko's skills and her deduction. And the other is more of a plot driving episode that reintroduces us to Saki and introduces us to the antagonist, hopefully, moving forward, known as the Steel Lady, Nanase. So, all round, both episodes had some great, amazing animation. The music was pretty good, and the storytelling, I actually really did enjoy. It was a joy to watch both episodes, even though number 2 was a lot more slow paced. It didn't bore me at all. It had me intrigued, and it had me like trying to think of why the murderer would do what she did as I learned more information. And that's something from an anime series that I think's pretty, you know, pretty good if they can make the audience think. Go watch the episode if you haven't. Like the video if you liked the video. Dislike if you disliked, I guess. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch you then. Bye.